Hello and welcome. Welcome to another fabulous e-chapter meeting. I am so glad to be here with all of you today. I know you all are now logging in and doing the call of shout outs. So I'm just going to jump right in. I know I sound a little bit like a broken record, but once again, our e-chapter just keeps growing and growing. I was at the Power Networking event yesterday in Washington, D.C., and I told them that we started 2017 with more than 23,000 e-chapter members, and now we are at 28,000 e-chapter members. I know it is by far our most successful and member-appreciated networking benefit, and I really think that's pretty amazing. I just could not be happier. I'm absolutely thrilled to witness the explosive growth of this exciting initiative, and I really want to thank each and every one of you for making our biweekly virtual meetings engaging and heartfelt and inspiring. The NAPW e-chapter is networking at its best, and for busy professional women on the go, like yours truly, it provides access to your network from wherever you are. As you know, in fact, last year I hosted the e-chapter from multiple places while meeting all kinds of people in some amazing locations. Today I'm a little bit boring. I'm working from my home office here in Chicago because I'm on a flight tomorrow to Houston, Texas to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. I'm pretty excited about it and excited to share what I've been able to do with my law degree so many years later. Because in 2016, nothing stopped me from keeping my network strong, and 2017 is going to be even better. Today's e-chapter is really exciting for me. I spent a lot of time pulling this information for you today. We're going to discuss creating a 3-pillar network of influence. Let me repeat that. It's a 3-pillar network of influence. I want you to start to think of this day as you're putting your network together to work for you. We're always talking about networking here at NAPW. It's really what our success is built on. So today we're going to dig a little deeper and truly break down the power of networking and influence. NAPW was founded on the premise of 2 very fundamental principles: empowering women and networking, empowering women and networking. Again, empowering women and networking. And it's those 2 principles that are the reason I believe I've accomplished what I have in my career. By having faith in my abilities and staying really connected with the people in my life, both personally and professionally, I've been fortunate to experience a tremendous career. So I want to encourage you to think outside of the box when it comes to networking and truly leverage your connections to support your personal and professional career growth over the long term. So grab a pencil or open up your favorite app and write down STAR's Divine 9. This is the 9 type of people you need in your network. Let's get started. The first category is operational. Now, these are the people that are on your team that help you operate it, if you will. Our first category is in the operational. The first is my A team. Let me explain. In my career, I have a team of colleagues who really understand how I work and who have the work ethic that contributes to my professional goals. From my executive assistant, Norma Iona, to my colleague, Louise Musa, who has really been a part of my A team now for nearly 4 years. These are the people that I can depend on to get things done. Danielle Simmons is the National Director of Events. I know when she's in charge of an event, it's going to go off without a hitch. These are my A team, if you will. Now, my A team also consists of people like the glam squad, the hair and makeup people, because Star can't be Star if she goes out there looking crazy. So who is in your A team? That's number 1. Number 2, the executives. For every career opportunity that I have, I make sure to get to know the leadership team and understand their long-term vision so that I may better fulfill my role. I have an excellent working relationship with the CEO of NAPW, who is an awesome woman, Catherine Bukovich. Now, as the president of PDN, which is the overall corporate entity, I also work closely with the CEO of PDN and my fellow board members of the corporation. So getting to know the executives will really move you forward. And number 3 in your operations is your customers or your audience. And in this case, it's my members. At all times, I'm aware of the needs and interests of my audience, of my members. Whether I'm practicing law, co-hosting The View, or encouraging thousands of professional women, I really choose to be aware of my specific audience. I get asked all the time, how did I make the transition from being a practicing attorney to doing television to now leading a women's organization? And I say, I just traded in one jury for another. And that's the difference. I still have an audience, a customer base, a membership base that I need to fulfill. That's the first category. Let's move to the second category, which is personal. And there are 3 people in your personal category. Number 1, your accountability partner. Okay, you have to designate an accountability partner who will remind you of your goals and nudge you when you are slipping. My accountability partner for many years has been my dear friend Judy Smith, who you all probably know as the real life Olivia Pope. She's the number 1 crisis manager, PR director in the world right now. And she's the one who makes sure that I'm doing what I say I'm supposed to do, keeping my personal and my professional brand on point. She is always there to say, hey, that's not on brand. And then we slip it right back into place. And then she's probably the most supportive person to me and my career. And we've been friends for 30 years now. Number 5, which is the second one in personal, is a critic. I know that sounds crazy, but keep a circle of contacts close to you who you are not ashamed to admit are smarter than you, who will give you sound critiques and advice, both personal and business. This is a person that will check you when you're wrong. Of course, they're supportive when you're right, but will check you when you're wrong. Star Jones, the lawyer, has lawyers. I'm actually having lunch with one of my corporate lawyers today. So my lawyers are the ones that will always throw up a roadblock if they think that I'm going down the wrong path. And I think having someone that's smarter, that'll put a roadblock up, that will say to you, you might want to think about that, is the perfect person. The third in this category is a confidant. Have 1 or 2 people who you never discuss business with that are solely a part of your life to enjoy you as a person and not a title. They truly understand you and support you and are not concerned with your facts, your figures, and your bottom line. That is definitely my dear best friend, Vanessa Bell Calloway, and my best doctor friend, Dr. Holly Phillips. We can talk business, but there is nothing like just being supportive girlfriends over a glass of wine. I can tell them anything. These are the girls that I like to say I would drive the Bronco for, and I think you'll remember that particular thing. The third category and final is strategic. There are 3 kinds of people in this category. Number 1 is acquaintances. Now, these are your social media connections and your college friends who you do not communicate with regularly but follow each other's success. You want to remember to drop a line or 2 throughout the year because the goal is to keep them in warm contact. These are the people who may be able to provide valuable introductions down the road and be supportive of you. I find it very interesting. I'm always sort of practicing what I preach. I just finished an email to 150 of my sorority sisters because there are some racial incidents going on at the American University, which was my alma mater, that actually I'm sure you all have heard about. It's been all over the news, that was directed at my sorority sisters. They just happen to be, that's my chapter. That's the chapter that I was the president of when I was 18 years old. And I have 150 names of my sorority sisters, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority sisters, who I am pulling together so that we can be there to support the young sorors who are there on campus as they go ahead and sort of wade through these incidents that are occurring. Those are the kinds of acquaintances you need to be able to get in touch with when you got to call people to action. The next is a financial expert. It's important to keep in your network a few trusted investors or those who are simply financially sound and literate. When you're ready for your next venture and you need to do planned funding, or you plan funding it, please have a close group of contacts who can point you in the right direction. That's absolutely imperative to getting it done. One thing to have a dream is another thing to have a plan. And finally, service providers. Now, I'm not to brag, but Angie's List and Craigslist, they don't compare to Star's List. I have my own Rolodex of professional service providers for everything. From a publicist to an accountant, I know who to call when I need a specific service, and there is not any guesswork because I've been using many of them for over 20 years. They have earned my trust, and I know I can count on them to boost and protect my professional brand. Ladies, these are the 9 groups of people that I have in my corner, and it works. Operational, personal, and strategic. I know this because my network has been beneficial for me for over 30 years as a professional. Today's e-chapter meeting will encourage you to connect smarter and develop your own meaningful relationships within your network. We've put together a terrific panel that includes a super successful, seasoned, trailblazing women who are all experts in their field. They're going to share about their own experiences and challenges and offer personal tips and advice. Before we get to the panel discussion, you're going to hear from 3 fabulous VIP members in the VIP Member Spotlight segment. And these women boast successful careers in a variety of industries. They each have a unique story to tell, and I'm sure you can't wait to hear them. Finally, I want to encourage you to participate in the poll that will appear throughout the meeting. This interactive aspect of the e-chapter meeting gives us some great insight into our attendees and your thoughts on some very important topics. They also help set the standard and the agenda for future e-chapter meetings. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce NAPW's new Vice President of Programming and Member Development, former National Director of Local Chapters, is Louise Musa. She and her team spearhead our e-chapter, and she's going to facilitate the rest of today's meeting. My A-team, Louise.
Thank you, Star. Thanks for opening up the webinar today with great tips. And welcome, everyone. Our live e-chapters are held once a month, and our reruns held bi-weekly, either at noon or 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can come back, listen again, and live network with new attendees from around the country. Each chapter has taken the stage, not only fostering real-time networking, but has also developed into offline, in-person coffee meetings, not to mention all the business contacts created through the connections made during the event. Also, with our newest online event, e-coaching, we're excited to be offering you even more networking opportunities in 2017. So please look out for the invites and promotions via email, on social media, and on our website, napw.com. We encourage you to carve out the time and keep coming back to our online events because of its ease and ability to network from your office, while on the road, and even from the comfort of your own home. You will see at the bottom left of your screen a box that explains how to create a private chat room with any attendee you wish to speak with off the group chat during the event, as it can be difficult to keep up with one or several people you've connected with, especially when the chat room moves so quickly. We also have in attendance today some additional corporate moderators to assist you or just chat with you along the way. They are Samantha Picorni, Local Chapter Manager, who will do her best to offer technical support if needed, and Katie Maloney, Director of Membership Acquisition, who is available to assist you with any membership questions you have today. You will also see several times during the event a poll pop up on your screen. Please take a minute to answer the questions, as we'll share the results during the panel discussion. The agenda for our event today is that we'll be showcasing 3 VIP members' business spotlights who have 3 minutes each to share their expertise before we invite our panelists on to discuss our topic for today, creating a 3-pillar network of influence: operational, personal, and strategic. So, for our first VIP spotlight, I'd like to introduce Cassandra Karabedian, who is the owner of Making Statements in Style. She has been a style consultant for 20 years and is uniquely skilled in women's apparel and accessories. She started her business all because of compliments she received on her attire and style at the age of 16. She then started styling people while working full-time in the corporate world. Then Cassandra realized her passion and went on to open Making Statements in Style. Outside her professional life, she participates in a variety of organizations, such as the Public Television. Join us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful.
Can
Go
you hear
right
me?
ahead. We can. Go right ahead.
Yes, my name is Cassandra Garabedian, and I'm a personal stylist as well as the owner of Making Statements in Style. I started the business approximately 20 years ago, and actually the business actually started itself from women coming to me asking for assistance with their personal style. And so from that, the business was born. I helped women actually when I was actually shopping for myself as well, in department stores. People would come up to me and ask for assistance while I was actually shopping, as well as when I would go into the stores with helping women with their shopping at major events. And so from that, Making Statements was born, and I actually would help women volunteering in major areas with their style. And so from there, I start to volunteer, and I put together outfits for women in career events, and I started to put together different programs. And so I started to create various outfits and different things to put together, looks for major events and programs in department stores. And from there, Making Statements was born. And then at that point, I said to myself, well, let me put together things for women's shelters and career looks for different events for different organizations, such as corporate events. And it just started to put together a life of its own. And from there, it started to really take off. And I said, well, I wanted to really start empowering women and really take a look at how it could even expand even more. And I started to put together seminars. And so the business really started to take off. And I started to put together different seminars and different, what I would say, different focus groups. And I wanted to expand and see exactly what it was that women really wanted to learn and what I could provide women more.
Cassandra, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you because your 3 minutes is up and we have a big agenda to get through today. So I just want to give you just a couple of seconds if you have a call to action for the ladies on the call today, and then I invite you to go over, hang up your phone and go over to the chat room and keep chatting with the ladies. So do you have a call?
Okay, the call to action would be, I would say, for those women that are interested in the products that I have to offer, I would give 20% off for those women that are interested in the accessories and how to pull together an outfit that would give them a dynamic look for a pulled together look. I have exceptional.
Cassandra, why don't you go into the chat room and, direct people over to your website or email. Thank you very much for your time.
Go to cgarabedian@53gmail.com.
It's on the slide, hopefully, so it's right there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you very much. So for our next spotlight today, I'd like to introduce Maureen Vipperman, who is the Director of Spa Development for OPL Hotels LLC, and brings her unique passion for spa wellness and business to the world of hospitality. Maureen works with award-winning design teams to develop wellness and branding strategies that set her business apart. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Maureen is highly established and recognized as a leader in her field. Maureen is also a published author, radio host, speaker, and certified naturopathic nutritionist. I'm also pleased to announce that Maureen is also our recently installed NAPW Tampa Bay chapter president. Good afternoon, Maureen, and welcome.
Good afternoon, and can you see me?
Just click start sharing, and we'll see you.
All right. Good afternoon, and thank you so much. There we go. Thank you so much, Louise, for having me this afternoon. And hi, everybody, all of you ladies out there. I'm really honored to be here this afternoon. In spa development and branding, it is my job to create a look, feel, and experience that differentiates my business, my product and service from any other brand out there. As businesswomen, we know that if we have a killer branding strategy, we can have a major edge over our competitive set. Simply put, our brand is our identity. Whether you're a large corporation or a solo entrepreneur, your brand is your promise. But what if you happen to be in an identity crisis? What if your message is inconsistent or misaligned with your vision or your purpose? Because I can tell you now, if you're sending mixed signals or you're trying to please everybody or be everything to everybody else except yourself, you're in an identity crisis. I'm not sharing. My camera got kicked off. Sorry about that.
Right ahead, Maureen. We can hear you.
Thank you. This is true in our personal lives as well, as much as in our businesses. Our self-identity plays a significant role in shaping our lives and how we show up in our business. Now, I'm here to tell you that that's good news because it is in an identity crisis where you will have your defining moment. All of our defining moments only come when we're having a breakthrough or, as Oprah would say, that aha moment. And the only time we have a breakthrough is when it's time to break out of an identity that no longer served our purpose or our highest good. My breakthrough came when I decided that for my own survival, I needed to redefine who and what I was and what my purpose in this life is. I discovered that I was not here to be a victim, but to be victorious in my own right. And I wrote about it in a book called Flies in My Coffee. Whether I'm speaking to a group, large or small, or if I'm one-on-one in a coaching session, I take you through a journey of exploration. I remind you to redefine the attributes of your greatness and the value of your identity so that you can realign with your vision, your purpose, and your personal power in order to elevate your brand that is uniquely you. Today, I'm offering the first 10 women who reach out and like our NAPW Tampa Bay Facebook page and mention one thing that you've come to value from this e-chapter event, a free autographed copy of my book. Thank you so much for having me on this afternoon, Louise. I really enjoyed being here.
Thank you, Maureen. Way to go. Go join the chat room and continue
Will do.
And network with the attendees there. Thank you. Last but not least, for our spotlights today, I'd like to welcome Simone Green, President and CEO of Strategic Management Group, LLC, a project management firm that specializes in strategic planning, capacity building, and events management. Simone exemplifies a noteworthy ability to cultivate community and inspire action. She leads coaching activities for female professionals, consults entrepreneurs, and speaks on various topics such as work-life balance, overcoming fear, and character building. Simone is also an advocate for empowering young women for success. She currently mentors young women to discover their passion and purpose and provides them with strategies for success. She has advised national clientele, nonprofit organizations, and groups on strategic planning, grassroots level advocacy, capacity building, research, and conferences. Welcome, Simone. Come join us. Oh, there you are, right there. Go right ahead. Oh, you need to unmute. Unmute your telephone. Okay, Simone, we're not hearing you. You dialed in on your telephone. If you're not, I'm going to have to move on. I'm sorry. Unmute your telephone. Okay, Simone, I'm not hearing you.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. You need to make this.
There we go. I got it.
Okay, go right ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the technical glitch, but I want to thank everyone for being here on this afternoon, and thank you, Louise, again for this opportunity to share with our NAPWC chapter sisters. And I wanted again to talk about my company's strategic management group. And its aim is to transform organizations from ideas into practical solutions. I started in SMG after being laid off from my job. With limited to no consistent income, I just walked out on faith and I started this company. I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew it was my calling and my purpose. Now, there's a quote by Marilyn Houston. She is the chairwoman, president, and CEO of Lockheed Martin that says, good leaders organize and align people around what the needs or what the team needs to do. And great leaders motivate and inspire people with why they're doing it. That's purpose. And that's the key to achieving something truly transformational. And this quote pretty much sums up what Strategic Managers Group is all about. We believe that great organizations align people around what it needs to do and motivates and stimulates people with why they're doing it. It transforms the customer and the communities they serve. Now, our motto is cutting edge. We believe that management is transactional. It means implementation, doing the things right. And we also believe that leadership is transformational. It's visionary, ideas or concepts of doing the right thing. And strategic management is a balance of both. Again, as mentioned previously, we deal with strategic planning where we provide solutions to the needs that are, tailored to the needs, resources, and experiences of our clients. SMG can work with organizations to set priorities, focus their energy and resources, strengthen its operations, ensure that employees and organization stakeholders are working toward a common goal. We develop agreements, policies around intended outcomes. We evaluate and modify your organization or your small business direction in response to a changing environment with a focus on the future. It was also mentioned previously about capacity building. And so SMG works with nonprofit organizations and small businesses to make it sustainable and influential for the communities and the customers and clients they serve, whether it is reframing or creating this mission or goals, providing strategy and direction, leadership capability, or talent management. The outcome is to build and grow a strong organization. Event management. Now we are specialized in event management. We conceptualize, we coordinate, we execute productions, large-scale productions, small-scale productions, meetings and conferences. We learn about who you are. We learn about your organization, your clientele that you're serving, or whatever events that you're trying to do, where we focus on your challenges, and we plan events to support your goals. Regardless of the size and scope, we treat your event like a business with clear strategic goals, defined milestones, and a comprehensive plan to ensure that your event is delivered on time and on budget. And we know that event budgets are very important. So we also understand that managing strategically is an art form. It articulates not only where our organization or group is going and the actions needed to make progress, but also how it will know if it is successful. So some of the best practices that I've learned today is to never let anyone change your core values, principles, or mission, to always remain humble and treat people with respect and always find solutions. So for today, for the first 25 people who send me an email at Simone Green, that is SIMONE GREEN, Simone Green 7 at Gmail, I will provide 15% discount of my services to all you wonderful ladies. Please, again, email me at Simone, like Nina Simone, SIMONE Green, GREEN 7 at gmail.com, and also add into your subject line NAPW E-Chapter 17. In the subject line, NAPW E-Chapter 17. I look forward to hearing from you in the chat room to answer any questions. And I thank you again for this time to share with you, and I also want to say be encouraged.
Thank you, Simone. And thank you to all our NAPW professional spotlights for taking the time to be on our e-chapter. Now it's time to continue our program and introduce the panel that will be discussing our topic for today, creating a three-pillar network of influence: operational, personal, and strategic. So for our first panelist, I welcome Silvika Roska, who is a leadership and mental performance coach at Business Brains Incorporated. Her passion is to empower women with the self-confidence to step up as powerful leaders. Her journey started as a leader in religious and non-profit organizations and continued through 10 years within the defense industry. Being exposed to leadership early in life, she was well prepared to be confident. Even as a 20-year-old intern in the presence of countless C-suite executives, her colleagues noticed, and it wasn't too long before they were asking for her advice. After much soul-searching, live stream broadcasting, and education, she chose to pursue her passion full-time, opening up Business Brains Incorporated in 2016, where she facilitates online group coaching programs, rich in content, and mentors individuals to a higher level of commitment on their leadership journey. Good afternoon, Silvika. Wonderful to have you on our panel today. I'm going to move along and introduce our next panelist, Robin Butler, who is a strategic and tactical leader armed with a comprehensive background in human resources and leadership development. She received a BS in Business Management and an MA in Organization Management from the University of Phoenix. Robin has spent the past 20 years working in various human resources and leadership positions and currently serves as the Corporate Human Resources Manager for General Dynamics and functions as an HR business partner. She partners to develop and integrate strategic initiatives and professional services related to leadership development, performance management, global mobility, employee relations, staffing, and retention. Prior to her role at General Dynamics, Robin was the Director of Human Resources for Military OneSource. Robin is also a certified John Maxwell coach, speaker, and facilitator, as well as a certified professional life purpose coach. She is also the CEO of Strutting in Stilettos, LLC, an organization that encourages women to lead through their passion, potential, and purpose. Greetings, Robin. Also wonderful to have you on the panel today. And I'll move on to our last panelist, not least, and that is Christine Rowe, who is Director of National Sales with Bud Corp USA, and our recently appointed APW chapter, Dallas chapter president. Ladies, if I can ask you to just mute your phone while I'm introducing the panel, that would be great. I'm hearing a lot of background noise. She assists corporations, associations, and non-profit meeting and event planners to source company venues for meetings, special events, and golf experiences. She strongly believes in her company's mission statements, build relationships and enriching lives, and that sales are not made by offering the right deal, but by building relationships and trust with her clients and colleagues. She believes it is important when training her new salespeople that it's not always about the sale, but the invaluable gift you receive by gaining a new relationship customer. And although you might not always close the deal, the new contact is invaluable in building your circle of customers, colleagues, and friends. Chris believes that you never know what or where one connection can take you. Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, ladies. So hopefully you can unmute your phones and join me, and we don't have too much background noise going on. I am hearing something on someone's line. I don't know if somebody has. I can hear.
Most likely it's happening because someone is listening to the presentation through their computer, and we're hearing the presentation from their speakers.
Maybe. So make sure your speakers are green, ladies. And all attendees should be in listen-only mode. So, ladies, okay. I'm going to ask you actually all to mute your phone right now while I talk, and I'll ask you the question. There we go. It's one of you because it's gone away. So our topic for today is creating a three-pillar network of influence, as I said. All three pillars are equally important and play a vital role in helping you achieve your goals. The first being operational, the second personal, and the third strategic. So for our first question today, we know Star gave her insight to those pillars, but I want to hear from you guys and hear what you have to say, what you think are the fundamental differences between each pillar, but what also is their collective value. So Silvika, I'll start with you.
Sure thing. So for me, when I think operational, I think short-term, not necessarily short-term, but short-term people who can have immediate benefits now for me. And when I think personal, I think people who are going to challenge me to grow personally within my business or career. And then when I think strategic, I think long-term. Perhaps people that you get in contact with that necessarily might not be able to help you now. You don't even know how the connection might work, but in the long run, somehow you know something will come of it. And the lines blur sometimes. So for example, for me last year, I connected with someone who I wanted to have as my mentor because I knew this person had been doing for 30 years what I wanted to do. And so I connected personal growth and thinking strategic long-term. And now comes full circle where this year I get to train, this weekend actually, I'm going to get to train some Olympic trainers on mental performance mindset because of that connection that had started last year. So it was personal, became strategic, and now is operational.
So that's exactly where the collective value comes in. It's kind of a chain of effect. So thank you, Silvika, for that. Robin, what's your insight here? Don't forget
I would say personal is more so ongoing. Those are relationships that are cyclical. You want them to continue. So those are your closer friends and family, relationships that you establish through civic organizations or connections like NAPW and organizations as such. I would say that the operational is present. It's here and now. What and who do you need in your network to get things accomplished? And lastly, the strategic piece, I would say, is for the future. You never know when. And so when you establish a strategy for that strategic network, you're looking at the future and who may be able to help you with future advancement, future development, future business opportunities alike.
Can you share with us, Robin, any time or experience where this has kind of had collective value for you through these three pillars?
Most definitely. I would say when I was, in fact, looking for this opportunity, I had a career coach, and working with that career coach, there was one particular opportunity that existed, and the organization ended up not filling that opportunity. But the executive recruiter reached out to me, and he said, hey, I'm going to keep you in my back pocket. I said, sure, that's great. So he reached out again when my current opportunity came open, and from establishing that network for the future, it landed me such a wonderful opportunity.
Yes, that's right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Robin. It is true. I mean, they are not that standalone. They are definitely something that ebb and flow between each other. Chris, your insight here and personal experience.
Sure. Well, I would say...
Oh, we've lost you.
We'll have the information we need. And operational, the purpose of this type of working cooperation. Among people have to know and trust one another to accomplish their immediate tasks. So, and then strategic are people who know a lot of people and enjoy making connections. Your LinkedIn and those type of people that I reach out to. And I think personal experience would be the most recent one. I was working with Star Jones and Danielle on some networking events at a few of our properties across the country. And, here's two people I've never met, and we got to be talking over lunch in Chicago.
Chris, we're losing a lot of your conversation. I'm wondering if you have a landline there that you want to dial into versus your cell phone. It seems like your connection's very poor.
Oh, is it? Okay, I can try to do a landline. Let me try to find a phone.
Well, okay, so you know what? I'm going to move on, and we'll come back to you while you dial back in on the landline so we can hear you better. And you can go off camera while you're doing this if you want, Chris.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh, yes, try that. So you were telling us about the
experience. So it basically, I'll just start over real quick, that I met with from Star Jones. We're working on some events across the country for you, and it turned into lunch meeting in Chicago.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to ask you to go off camera and find yourself a landline and come back, and I'm going to move on to the next question. I'm sorry. Okay, ladies, so let's go on. So, next question, while we're waiting for Chris to organize herself. Building a strategic network can be tricky and sometimes feel unauthentic. How does one stay authentic and even likable as they build their carefully planned network? Robin, we'll start with you.
I would say be you. Start with transparency, being transparent, be honest, and I would like to give an example of what I call 3 C's that I discovered in a book I recommended. So chemistry, find chemistry. What's your common ground? What do you have where you love that person's energy, and start with chemistry. Secondly, I would say commitment. What was it about the interaction that you gained some insight from? And so from there, whatever you committed to, if it's doing lunch, if it's following up with a phone call or email, keep that commitment. And lastly, the commonality. What common ground did you establish during the discourse of that meeting? And looking at what would be essentially mutually beneficial for you both.
That's right, and I think that's the key, is the mutual beneficial piece, so that both parts are feeling like there is something, there is that connection, and that you can build from that. You see the poll up here, ladies. We asked the attendees if they felt that their network was working for them. So, almost 66% say somewhat. So it's most of the ladies on the call. So they're feeling like they're not really grasping this and managing it in such a way that is going to sort of gain the results they're looking for, especially in the professional environment. So, Silvika, the strategic network, I mean, how do you work yours? Some other tips?
Of course. First of all, Robin hit it right on the head. Connect, chemistry, all that, definitely. And the biggest thing, though, when it boils down to it, is friendship. We have been taught a very superficial level of networking. So that's why most people's networks only work somewhat for them. When you deep dive into creating a relationship, so when you're networking, your goal, like if you go to a networking event, instead of your goal being, I want to get as many business cards as possible, it's, I want to make authentic connections. I want to become friends with this person, even from a business perspective, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So if you start creating that relationship, then, and especially for the women here on the call, women, we struggle with self-confidence a lot more than anyone else. So many times our network doesn't work for us because we don't ask. But when you approach your networking as a relationship building business, then you have more confidence in asking your network to work for you as well. And one real quick example, my brother, there was this really, really high net worth guy that he wanted connected with because this guy has connections to top corporations. So he started building a relationship. He would go play tennis with this guy. He helped him shop for a TV screen. Like, he went and just became his friend. And in return, this guy connected him to some of his top clientele for my brother's business. And so it's building that relationship first and then giving that ask.
Right. That's exactly right. I think building personal relationships are as strategic as the strategic network can be, because it's not going, that's where the authenticity comes in, as you start with getting to know somebody and go from there. Chris, welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. That sounds
Okay.
much better. So I don't want to, lead you out of this conversation because we've moved ahead a little bit. And I know that you were talking about your strategic relationship around NAPW and how it's sort of your meeting with Star and your professional role at Club Core, and how we developed a relationship in using your properties to have our corporate events and grow from there into hopefully some other relationships. And most importantly, you became the Dallas chapter president. I mean, I say most importantly because through that strategic relationship, you joined our leadership team and our ambassadors of local chapters, and which is just phenomenal. So I'm going to go over to the second question, just ask you, because the ladies already answered this, about building that strategic network and staying authentic. So, as you carefully plan your network, and just some tips around how you've done that, and share with the ladies, please.
Sure, and I think it goes back to, in my introduction, the premise of my company, Club Corp, not mine, but the one I work for, Club Corp, is building relationships and enriching lives, and that's something that the employees of Club Corp live and breathe every day and believe in. And I think to do that, you really need to incorporate that when building your network, and it's just mostly just common etiquette. And when you're talking to people, it's about them. It's not about you. It's actively listening to the other person, smiling, keeping eye contact. Technology, people looking down at their watch or their phone when you're having a conversation. I mean, that can be, very rude when somebody's real excited and passionate about talking to you about their business. If you're out networking, always try to rescue someone. I do that when I'm at something. If I see someone standing alone or sitting by themselves, try to bring them into the conversation, get to know them a little bit, and make them feel welcome. Attitude, stay positive, don't gossip. All those things that we learn and breathe, just to common courtesy to others. And then just in day-to-day, being reliable. Say what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, or tell someone when you can. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Really, letting people know if you're going to send them a contract or follow up to an email or a phone call, make sure you do it that day, or at least shoot them an email or phone call and say, I know I promised you something, I'll get it to you tomorrow. But I think it's just really treasuring those relationships you have and building them, and building that trust is what gets people ahead and makes yourself feel good and makes others respect you in the business world.
Yes, absolutely, Chris. Silvika, to start off asking you this question. So some of the women on the webinar might have experienced personal life changes that certainly affected their personal relationships. When it comes to changing professionally, how do we manage our existing networks and adjust gracefully and accordingly to meet the new current needs?
Love this question, because that's something that happened to me last year. I went from being finance in the defense industry into coaching. And the best way is this analogy. Your life is your theater. All life is a stage. And you have your close friends on the first or second row. You have, in the middle, the people that you don't really want to talk to. They're okay. And then the people you really don't want to talk to, you have them on the last row. And then some people you just don't want them in your life, so you throw them out of your room. View your connections like that too. So some people from your professional network, they might be right now front and center. Maybe just move them towards the middle. Instead of keeping in touch with them every week or every month, skip a little bit here and there and just slowly, gracefully ease your way out. Let them know what you're doing, but don't kick them out of the room. Because just because you're switching careers, or it does not mean you have to stop talking completely to someone. Just slowly drip them out of the room, and those who truly want to be a part of your career and find value in it, they will make sure they reach out to you. For the rest, you just put them in the back seat and move the next people into the front seat.
Great advice. Great, a great visual. That really sticks. Robin, your insight here.
Yes, I loved your insight, Silvika, as well. So I would say that I liken us as women to the butterfly. We go through a metamorphosis, and I talked about this a little bit in the opportunity that you gave me at the meeting yesterday, and how we change. And I think that as our relationships change, as we grow through our metamorphosis process, we have to tweak the relationships, and I'll use the word diplomatically and with grace, because you desire to grow. So I, like Savika, have experienced this personally, and what I have done is talk to my friends about the change. I may not be as accessible as I used to be, but it doesn't mean that I don't value you and the relationship that we had, but there may be some changes that need to happen. So I would say if the relationships aren't toxic, don't sever them, but just make the necessary adjustments with those friends that you need to.
That's right. You see that another poll went up. Have you ever readjusted your network due to a change or shift professionally? We asked the attendees. So 55% said yes on the call. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, and you never know. Your network that you think is not relevant actually can become relevant again. So for some reason, and also you can be a connector. So even though it's not relevant for your needs, you might be meeting someone else in your new network that's relevant to somebody in your old network, and you can connect them and keep that relationship going. Chris, anything to add here?
Well, both you ladies, what you said, I completely agree with. I'll just throw in a quick story. Is about 7 years ago, I was relocated to a new company and a new city. So I went from Kansas City down to Dallas, Texas. Didn't know anybody. So I, it was getting involved with industry and associations and meeting people and just utilizing those friendships. And actually, I met one friend at a conference in Minneapolis, and that turned into her, she's in the same industry. She's introduced me to tons of people in the industry, tons of things to do in Dallas. She's actually become one of my best friends now in Texas. And just by cultivating that one little meeting at an industry conference, I have a whole new life and a whole new group of friends in Dallas. So you never know, like I said earlier, who you're going to meet and how they're going to touch your life, and just trying to embrace everybody that you meet, because you never know if it's going to be a business colleague or a best friend.
Well, absolutely right. So you actually jumped over to the next question, which I was going to ask, which is about instead of 6 degrees of separation, that here we could actually talk about it as being 3, right? And what value and importance each pillar has collectively to lead you to that next valuable connection. So, Robin, a story to share on this or some insight?
It's vital to leverage your network and stay connected, because you never know who could lead you to your next business venture, your job opportunity. You don't know who will be your next. And so I would say that I've had the privilege of working in human resources for about 25 years. People still reach out to me, and as you mentioned earlier, Louise, being the connector. And so I've connected so many people to their next opportunity. So I may not talk to them on a weekly basis, monthly. It may even be a couple of years, but staying connected is so powerful, because I love to give. And so as much as I can help and connect and be that liaison for people, that's what I enjoy doing. And so that's why, to me, the network and remaining in contact with those individuals is so vital.
Right, and as Silvika said so correctly earlier, that you just navigate that, and it's kind of you time manage it in a nice and productive way that's still keeping in touch with those people, but you increase more where it's more relevant and decrease where it's not so relevant. So, Silvika, do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, definitely. There have been so many occasions where I, in the past year, have been able to connect people from my different pillars. One was a writer, connect them to a publisher. Another, someone who came to me for broadcasting and social media advice, and I was able to connect them with an investor for their product. And the same thing has happened to me countless times as well. So that 6 degree of separation, we are like 1 degree of separation almost from everyone. So network and be aware of where people are in your pillars.
Right, exactly. And our attendees today said that multiple times, 72% have said multiple times they experienced one connection leading them to another. So we know that. We know it happens. So For our last question today, and we know this time goes so quickly, it seems like a lot to manage, and we've talked about this somewhat throughout this conversation. But why is it important to take the time to do this and share some tips on how one would integrate this into their busy lives? Robin, we'll start with you.
So we've heard recently our network becomes our net worth. And so that's why it is so valuable. You can't, it's invaluable. You can't even place a value on why it's important to connect, why it's important to remain connected and establish mutually beneficial relationships, because those relationships could be ongoing from the personal standpoint, operational, or strategic, as I mentioned earlier, for the future. And it's just something that you have to make time for. We all get busy. We are managing multiple tasks, but it's so important. And, in many cases, I've met one individual and they've been my bridge. And so it's important for us as professional women and entrepreneurs to build bridges in our networking.
Thank you, Robin. Silvika, just quickly, because we are running out of time, if you have some finite tips, takeaways on how to manage this?
Yes. Incorporate your networking within your different activities. And the reason why it's so important is because we're communal beings, humanity. We crave connection, and people do business with they know, like, and trust. And especially in this world where we have so much on the internet and anyone could be anyone they want to be on the internet, people are being a lot more selective about who they do business with, who they hire. And having those things, it could be simple like a walking break with your boss or walking break with your CEO while at work, like whatever it might be, small little things like that will build the connections for the long run.
Thank you. Chris, finally?
Well, I think I agree with both. Again, just scheduling that time. If you can't attend a luncheon or a big event during the week because you're busy or traveling, just scheduling some social media time or LinkedIn time, or like you said, taking somebody out for coffee, taking somebody to lunch, even if it's just one-on-one, you're still networking. And just schedule it every week, an hour every week, to do some sort of networking.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, thank you. I know that just went by so fast, but there was a lot of information shared, and I really appreciate your time. We've learned that the 3-pillar network is an important tool to build diverse relationships that enable you to develop and expand your horizons. Networking both operationally, personally, and strategically will provide a forum for your career advancement if built correctly and appropriately. Hopefully, you have realized that somehow you are already doing this and you just didn't realize it, or where you need to fill in to build a comprehensive network that meets your needs. Well, eChapter attendees, like I said, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. It always goes by way too fast. Thank you, Star, the Spotlights, and the panel for sharing great advice. But before we wrap up our event today, I do want to share with you the recommended reads from our panelists. Silvika Rosca recommends How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This book is the classic on networking and business communication. Carnegie went from being a poor farmer's boy to a leading business trainer. His works are still being used in corporate training today. Learn how to connect with people, spark conversations, and be remembered. Robin Butler recommends Strategic Connections by Anne Weber, Lynn Wyman, Andre Alfonso, and Jim Wild. This book teaches you to optimize your contacts, connections, and relationships. It helps dispel the mistaken notion of taking advantage of others through the networking process and really teaching one to hone the art of face-to-face networking to foster real collaboration. And Christine Roach recommends Kiss the Frog, 12 Great Ways to Turn Negatives into Positives in Your Life and Work by Brian Tracy and Christina Stein. This book will help you to change your mindset so that you discover something worthwhile in every person and experience, however difficult and challenging they might seem at first. You'll learn how to develop unshakable self-confidence, become your best self, and begin living an extraordinary life. Thank you, ladies, for sharing such great book choices with our attendees. And thank you to our 230 members who attended today. You'll be receiving a follow-up list of all today's attendees so you can connect again on nepw.com and continue to network. If any of our attendees have further questions for our speakers, please feel free to reach out to them. Their information is on today's PowerPoint, which will be sent out in the post-eChapter email. Also, all NAPW eChapters are recorded and saved on the YouTube NAPW eChapter channel for you to watch and share with your colleagues, friends, and family. You will see on your screen now that you can sign up to the upcoming NAPW eChapter rerun of today's event if you want to listen to it again on May 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern, along with our next live eChapter event, which will be May 31st at 4 p.m., titled Attracting and Creating Effective Mentoring Relationships. Remember, all sessions, even when a rerun, host live attendee networking. And finally, ladies, post eChapter, here are 3 things you should do to continue putting your NAPW membership to work. Connect with at least 3 members post eChapter. As I said, the attendee list is coming your way. Make sure you signed up for the next eChapter event. And don't forget to take the post eChapter survey. Your feedback is very important to us and assists us in enhancing your member experience. Thank you, everyone, for another great eChapter event. We look forward to seeing you next time. Please enjoy the rest of your day.